Welcome to the Gospel Road. We are going to look at James 1 today. It says, James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes of dispersion. Greetings. Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given him. But let him ask in faith with no doubting. For the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea that is driven and tossed by the wind. For that person must not suppose that he will receive anything from the Lord. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. Let the lowly brother boast in his exaltation, and the rich in his humiliation, because like a flower of the grass, he will pass away. For the sun rises with its scorching heat and withers the grass, its flower falls, and its beauty perishes. So also will the rich man fade away in the midst of his pursuits. Blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial, for when he stood the test, he will receive the crown of life, which God has promised to those who love him. Let no one say when he is tempted, I am being tempted by God, for God cannot be tempted with evil, and he himself tempts no one. But each person is tempted when he is lured and enticed by his own desire. Then desire, when it has conceived, gives birth to sin, and sin, when it is fully grown, fully grown, brings forth death. Do not be deceived, my brothers. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shadow due to change. Or his own will he brought us forth by the word of truth, that we should be a kind of first fruits of his creatures. Know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger, for the anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God. Therefore put away all filthiness and rampant wickedness, and receive with meekness the implanted word, which is able to save your souls. But be doers of the word, not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. For if anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man who looks intently and at his natural face in the mirror. For he looks at himself and goes away and at once forgets what he was like. But the one who looks into the perfect law, the law of liberty, and preserves, being no hearer who forgets, but a doer who acts, he will be blessed in his doing. If anyone thinks he is religious and does not bridle his tongue, but deceives his heart, this person's religion is worthless. Religion that is pure and undefiled before God the Father is this: to visit orphans and widows in their affliction and keep oneself unstained from the world. James 1. That is what we're looking at today. Quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. We hear that a lot. Be cautious on how you are dealing with things every day. Also, it talks about here of being doers and not just hearers only. I mean, how many times do we hear people say, do as I say, not as I do? We've heard that a lot. I know I've heard that a lot many times because, maybe someone's doing it wrong, but they're telling you the right way of doing it. Well, if you're telling me the right way of doing it, why aren't you doing it the same way? Again, it's showing it by example. Now, do I fail on this? Absolutely. I fail every day. Do the best I can, but it just it doesn't always work out. But I do the best I can because none of us are perfect. We're going to fall into that spot, but then we have to pick ourselves back up. Again, this is where it comes to of listening and speaking slowly. So in other words, listen to everything that's being said, not trying to or interrupting, but listen, process before you speak, but at the same time, do not get angry because of what you're hearing. That happens to us a lot because many of us are very quick to anger, to get frustrated, to get annoyed as we're dealing with life that is not always the easiest to deal with. We have those people that kind of like hit the buttons, hit the triggers, right? That really set us off the edge as we're dealing with life every day. And we have to do our best to squash that, hold that, bridle it, keep it in. Not saying that it doesn't get frustrating and you're trying to figure out a way to let that frustration out, but not doing it at someone else or towards someone. We need to do everything that we can to deal with each other equally and live in harmony, loving one another, helping one another, being there for each other the best that we can. A lot of times we always forget. We never know what somebody's going through that day because it could have been a very rough morning. They could have gotten some really bad news or things just are not working out for them that day. And they just keep tripping and falling over obstacles. So it's our position to help them, to pick them back up, not kick them while they're down, but to be kind and to really show them kindness as we are going through those days every day, showing them mercy, giving them grace, maybe offering to help if it's something that we're able to do. Maybe sometimes it's just listening and not speaking because they just need an ear to hear as they're trying to deal with some stuff. I know I keep tripping over obstacles daily. One thing happens, then another thing happens. There's just so many things right now I'm trying to process in my own brain that I don't even understand. And you get a email or a call, you need to do this. So then you make that call, then you call them and like, well, we don't even understand what you're talking about. Well, that doesn't make any sense because this is something that is part of your process that you need to be doing. I'm dealing with that right now. Someone who didn't file something. And when I brought it up, they had no idea what I was talking about, which, yeah, it makes it so much fun. It's like you're not even sure what your own processes are. And this is, again, the world that we are in right now because uh, we're not really bringing people in with experience or with know-how. Maybe people are not the right person is not being hired for the job, which has been happening for years because everyone's trying to get their deals, their supplements, whatever that tax break is, especially on the corporate level. Yeah, talking taxes for a minute, talking government, which can get annoying because, again, we are getting to the point where their execution is not always done well with things that are being passed or being offered because they think this is the right way to be and what we should be doing because it keeps us equal and level, but it creates more problems rather than solving anything. Maybe it should be that we are encouraging one another to be the best that they can, to really learn, to understand, to get the education that they need rather than just handing them something. It's like that participation trophy. You were there, so here you go. You were part of that. And that's not what life is. Life is a challenge. Life is a race, and life is something that we have to take seriously to understand what it is that we are doing, where we're going, and how it is that we're going to do it. I think I mentioned this last week, but we always hear that those that do not learn history are doomed to repeat it. Well, we're not even to the point of learning. We're just not even teaching history. So we're guaranteed, it's not even doomed, it's a guarantee we're going to repeat what has happened in history because of what we're ignoring. It doesn't matter. There's good, there's bad in history. We have to look at both of those because by knowing the difference between the good and the bad, we can find the balance of, okay, this is how we need to do this, the correct way to be done. Not saying that it's always been done correctly. I'm not saying it's always been done wrong. And sometimes even the right way of doing it, there might be a better way of doing it. Just because it's always been done that way does not mean it always needs to be done that way. Change. We deal with it every day. Things are changing for us. I mean, we are in a completely digital world. Look at what I'm doing right now, recording this and posting it so people, I mean, this was something that wasn't available over 10 years ago. And many people that when they were talking about podcasts and the internet and, they just kind of ignored it and just poo-pooed it. Well, look at where it is now. It's a lot different. But some people still ignore it. But we're not able to ignore it. We have to be aware of it. Like I say, a lot of times, I know just about enough about many things that gets me in trouble. The whole jack of all trades or the Renaissance man does not make me an expert at anything. Just means that I have a lot of itsy bitsy knowledge in many different areas. Does it help? Sometimes. Does it hinder? Sometimes. Does it get me in trouble? All the time. Yeah. How are we dealing with this? What are we doing with that? Again, listening. We hear this, that we're given 2 ears and 1 mouth to listen more and speak less. But then while we're listening, we're also not getting irate or upset or getting angry just because it's something that we're not agreeing with or because someone's not paying attention or because somebody doesn't understand. I know we get frustrated. And sometimes we're not always sure how to show that frustration or to share that frustration with those that we're having the conversation with, which ends up turning into anger and maybe turns into a lot of things being said that shouldn't have been said. Feelings get hurt. And well, there we go. That's the life we live. It's great. John 1. That is what we are looking at today. And as I always say, be sure to read it and see how it helps you be better. Because see, again, we are all in different levels of life. We are all trying to get to a certain area. Some are farther advanced. Some are still lagging behind a little bit. You have to find that medium to where you are as you are trying to be the best that you can be, as you keep pushing forward to be the best that you can be. I always say this. Sometimes to be our best, we just have to do our best. And that's all we can ask. John 1. Be sure to check that out. Sorry, not John 1, James 1. Man, did I even say that when we started? Sorry. My own name, and I don't even know. James 1 is what we're looking at today. Oh, my goodness. See? Oh, not even sure if I even did this right the entire time, but we're just going to let it roll. Hopefully you're picking it up now. James 1. That'll be in the title anyway when I post it. So hopefully that'll help. And then people will laugh at me like, oh, he said the wrong thing. There you go. I failed. I prove it every day. It's like when I do my words of the day and some words I get out really well and some I do not. And then, oh my goodness. Yeah, my brain just is going 80 miles a minute. It's crazy. James 1. Be sure to check it out. If you enjoyed this, be sure to share it with others on social media. You can always find me on social media as well. Pretty much any platform on My Buddy Jimmy, mybuddyjimmy.com. And give a rating wherever you're listening. That's always appreciated too on the platform you are checking this out on. All right. Thank you for listening to The Gospel Road. Have a great day. God bless.
Spinal adjustments provided by Dr. Chad Rolfson. The Spinal Tuning Chiropractic Center is a Des Moines area low flat fee per month unlimited chiropractic care practice. When life happens, just adjust. Schedule today at spinaltuning.com.
The Jimmy Olsen Radio Network.